So this one is somewhat in the same vein as the last couple of recordings. If you haven't listened to any of my recordings, or nothing recent, then this probably won't make any sense to you. My disclaimer, I talk about things, regardless of whether you believe them or not, I talk about things that you cannot unknow. And if you are not okay with that, you should probably click off here. I use expletives liberally. If that offends you, it's not going to get any better for you here on out. The things I speak on are not warm and fuzzy. They are very stark, abhorrent, vile truths that I have learned based on things forced on me, experiences I've had to go through, things I've been forced to see. And these are things, a lot of what I speak on are things that I know. I do talk about my conclusions and perceptions in addition to that. I try to make the distinction between each. Sometimes it might blur a little bit. And then the other thing, my tone is one of extreme rage expressed as sarcasm, so I don't scare people. Continuing forward, if my conclusions about this universe are correct, and the universe is in on it, complicit, corrupt, insane, parasitic, and is using the malevolence, is using all of the parasitic infection as a proxy, and allows them to run around the universe with technology, doing the most vile, abhorrent things to benevolent beings, because it seems to feed on benevolent life force, so it can try and sustain its stay here in manifested creation in the same space as universal laws, and try not to get nailed. So, if my conclusion is correct, what I am beginning to see is that even though I'm able, that I do move things manually to universal laws, and they do get hit initially with the return of their violation, the malevolence, does use technology to forcibly regress and obstruct as well. But the universe itself seems to be assisting in his own fashion, assisting in his or its own way. As time moves forward and I continue to do what I do and fight and battle, sometimes there are little things, subtleties, or details that I pick up on. And today, what I picked up on is the fear, all the fear that they force, because what they do to force fear, as well as feed, because that's what they feed on. So in their method of forcing fear, much of that fear belongs to the universe itself, as well as, the proxy parasitic infection. Now, here's the thing. Since he is intentionally, and I'm just going to call him a he for, I don't know exactly why, but I'm going to call the universe a he. And since he does things to interfere with universal laws, actually assist somehow in some way obstructing universal law correction, in addition to the parasites using the technology. What I'm seeing is that I think it will take here I'm going to rephrase, because my conclusions are of a specific frequency, the concepts, the ideas, the tone of my conclusions, and what I am seeing and realizing about the universe. Those are very, very specific frequencies. Obviously, not many, and I'm not sure if at all, but how many would be holding or coming to those same conclusions, having those same thoughts, and coming to those conclusions, to also be carrying that specific frequency. Now, because the universe is in on it and doing whatever it is he's doing to help or assist obstruct and regress, they become extremely, even more than they like normally, is in quotes, normally are. But for some reason, my recordings, even though I don't have a high sub count, and obviously the view count for the videos is very, very low. And out of the view count, I suspect that the number that actually listens to one of my recordings all the way through is much smaller. However, if there are those that listen and hold that same frequency and that same vibration, and have come to those conclusions and have come to some of those realizations, and can see the bigger picture, they're holding a very similar frequency to me. And here's the thing, as I was saying, since that's not a common frequency, and because of that specific frequency, it's very, I don't necessarily want to use the word powerful, but it's just very specific, but it's very loud. It's very strong, and it's very loud. They get extremely nervous and they're already in fear. They're insane. They're filled with fear. But their level of fear raises exponentially with every recording that I do. Because the only thing that I can at this point really think about that is because there might be a few people that do listen, and that there might be one or two, or three or four, I'm not quite sure what the number would be, of people that can see the bigger picture. They might not share all of the, they might not resonate with all the conclusions or what have you. But if there's enough there that they do resonate to where they're in a similar frequency band, that, like I said, that frequency is very loud and very strong. And so I think it would be really helpful as far as getting universal laws triggered in this universe, because he's interfering with them personally. He's in direct contradiction to universal laws, and he's in betrayal of himself for doing what he's done. So more than one person holding the same and or similar band of frequency and can see the bigger picture, the more of us that do that, or that can do that, or if there's a few that, like I said, can do that or are seeing the big picture and they do resonate, then that kind of, just like a guitar string or a violin string, it reverberates outward. And even though you might never talk about these things with anyone, or ask anyone their opinion, or let's say you never talk to anybody about that, if you are resonating in that band of frequency, and because of how strong it is, and how loud it is, you reverberate it outwards from you, and you're still communicating with others on an energetic level, on a psychic level. Your understanding of it, that's what I'm getting at. Your understanding of it, and your ability to see the bigger picture, to see what's actually being forced here and what's done here, even though we may not, like I said, some of our, you might not resonate with some of the things that I have stated as far as conclusions go. But like I said, if you resonate in any kind of a similar band, others, you communicate that to others in your everyday, whoever you come across, and even the ones you don't exactly come across, but are in proximity to you. So if you do understand, then you're still helping others to understand on some level. Now, what I'm hoping for is that there's enough, because of how loud and strong it is, that frequency. I hope there's enough to be resonating in that band. And it basically, what this comes down to is forcing, and I know as I say this, there will be those who think that I am coming out of something other than in the energy or the spirit of correction. Things must be corrected simply because he is the universe. As I said, just with any race or any species, there's good and bad. The same goes for celestial bodies. And I would suspect if it goes that way for celestial bodies, it is also that way for universes. That he is corrupt and insane and psychotic and parasitic. He didn't want to do the work. He didn't want to fucking do the work. He just wanted to skate and rape it from others, right? There's those people out there. And there's probably tribes or groups of people that also think that way and behave that way. Anyways, what I was going to say is that there must be correction. There must be. It cannot be that a universe itself is forcibly, intentionally obstructing and regressing universal laws. Like, if you were to extrapolate on that, just that alone, the massive ramifications of that, the results from that, what that means for any other being in the universe, right? Many have stated or said this is a school. The universe being insane and parasitic, totally, and without, and also obstructing, and going totally, being totally against free will. Like to have, trying to you cannot have a universe that's all malevolent. There's nothing to keep it from imploding, to keep it from collapsing in on itself. That's why he's been raping and parasitizing and cannibalizing off of benevolent beings here. Like in the past, it's been there actually was at some point a balance in this universe, but it's gotten to a point where there hasn't been balance in this universe for a very long time, especially when they start using artificial frequency fences to obstruct universal laws and corrections. And the backlog of universal law correction and enforcement is at this point unfathomable, number one. And if universal laws were be, this is kind of where I was trying to go with this, sorry, in kind of a roundabout fashion. Once universal laws is triggered, you are going to see things and or experience correction at a speed that you do not fucking recognize. It will be a speed that nobody recognizes. Now, here's the question. Because of the backlog, is it only to a degree to where it just removes all of the malevolence in this universe, or at least this quadrant, this galaxy, immediately and all at once? Or is the backlog so massive that the whole universe implodes, collapses, because there is no balance? And there's only, I would say, in respective terms, out of all the beings left, at least in this galaxy, a handful of benevolent beings are left. Now, you can disagree with that all you want. You may not agree. That's fine. What I will say is that is my feeling on it, my intuitive feeling about it. Obviously, I haven't taken account. I haven't taken a poll, right? So I don't know. There's always the chance that I could be wrong about the number of benevolent beings still left in this universe. I'm just getting the feeling that it's only like a handful, respectively. So, and because the universe itself is in betrayal of itself and in contradiction, what's going to happen is he's either going to remove he's going to assist universal laws and or try and manipulate universal laws to where, or try to control it to in a certain degree, to where it only removes the parasitic infection. Now, what about him? The entity, the awareness, the consciousness that is this universe is complicit and corrupt and parasitic. And it will no longer have the shield of what it's raped to continue existing in the same space as universal laws. Which is why I call the universe Mr. Land of Fucked. Okay? I've called him that for quite some time now. Now, is he going to sacrifice the parasitic infection and then decide that he's going to choose the path of healing? And technically, personally, I don't think he has that option. But if he were to do that, I think he would, that energy, that consciousness, that awareness would most likely be reduced to space dust. And that's if that. And then I don't know how the universe itself, the inner workings of the universe itself. I am not sure what would happen at that point. Maybe because of I would think it would be just the whole universe that collapses. Now, I have always perceived universal laws to be connected to the energy, the awareness, the consciousness of the universe itself. So, if that is not the case, then that awareness, consciousness, and energy, again, gets reduced to space dust. But if it's more of like a body, to where universal laws and the consciousness and awareness and all that is integrated, like tendons or cells in the body, right? Then he's in total contradiction to universal laws. So what does that look like? That's what I'm getting at. I apologize for the lag. So what does that look like? I don't know. I can't say that I've ever seen that kind of a scenario in a universe in all of my prior lifetimes. So I'm trying to kind of keep a couple of different things in mind. If the whole universe implodes, for some reason I get a very strong knowing that any and all benevolent beings who are choosing and have the intent to heal and want to move forward, then those beings are instantly just transported to their respective universes based on their frequency, vibration, light, sound, energy, and resonance upon the implosion of this one. If it is only the parasitic infection that is removed, then all of a sudden, all benevolent beings that remain find themselves in a universe devoid of malevolence. And oh my gosh, the things that we could do. And obviously you're at that point instantly on your evolution path. You're instantly on your evolution path, devoid of all impediment. So, because I'm not exactly, I'm seeing a couple of different things there. What I'm trying to tie this all together now. So, I don't think it would take very many of us holding that kind of a frequency, that strong of a frequency, that band of a frequency, for very long before universal laws gets triggered, regardless of his interference and regardless of their interference in use of technology, because of the frequency that it is, and as loud as it is and as strong as it is. I don't think it would take very long. I think they have already been seeing some results. And again, I'm not trying to come from an egoic place. Please don't get this twisted. Based on their reaction to my recordings and the torture and rape that they always, I don't even like to give voice to it. Let's just say every time I do a recording, um, I already know how they're going to react, and it's not pretty. But I still need to do what it is I need to do, and I need to go about my business here. So I do. So I'm trying to tie that together. That I don't think it would take very many. Like I said, I have no idea if there's even one or two that are coming to, looking at maybe some of the things I've stated and like thinking about it and checking their own intuition in their own heart, in their own blood, in their own genetics, their own DNA, their own intuition. Did I say that right? Their own spirit, for the truth that they have, for the pieces of truth that they have within them. And then, coming to whatever conclusions they come to. It might only be one, right? It might only be one or two, if that, or maybe it's three or four. Like, I really don't know. That's just, like I said, that's just a guess. But I'm just saying that frequency band is very strong and very loud. I don't think it would take very many, and I don't think it would take very long. As you all, especially if you're holding that kind of a frequency band, it means that you are already in a capacity where you are affecting people on a genetic level, on a DNA level, on a cellular level, on a, well, you're just affecting others on deeper levels. And yeah, I don't think it would take very long before it forcibly triggers universal laws. And what the phrase I was going to say before was, it would be forcing the universe's hand. Is where that's at. And again, I'm not saying that from an egoic place or an arrogant place. After being tortured and raped for this long with attempted murders, this universe must be corrected. There must be remedy for all the souls that have been tortured, raped, and murdered simply because a parasitic entity was obstructing and regressing universal laws and universal law correction and using them as parasite food. Like, that's, you really start to question, things like, what is existence for? Right? I mean, you really start getting into questions that don't have pretty answers in this kind of a universe. This is not how this is, how this things are being forced here, and what these entities have presented life to be. This isn't life at all. It's existence, but it's not. I mean, we are capable of so much more, like a gazillion times more. And there's been nothing but parasitic interference and meddling and torture, rape, and murder and all of that for like so many millennia. This is not what it's supposed to be. It's not. Were you created to be parasite food? Were your parents? Were your friends? Is your dog, right? Because they torture animals with it too, and children. Is your dog just parasite food, right? Like, I mean, you really have to start asking those kinds of questions because of what they're doing with universal laws, and because of how they do it. The level of trauma that they have forced on humanity in, like, how many lifetimes, how many civilizations, and how many timelines. it is a matter of really looking at not just this planet, number one, and not just this civilization in this timeline. You have to, when you're looking at the bigger picture, you're taking into account those other timelines and those other civilizations, in where those races and species and those civilizations were also forcibly raped of their evolution by these parasites in the most horrific manner. So when I say backlog of universal law correction and enforcement, that is some of the criteria that you're basing the result on, or using that specific criteria to look at it, the bigger picture. So and yeah, we're already at 30 minutes. I'm so sorry. So essentially, that is what I wanted to state and talk about. And it's, I don't think it's a good idea for people. You're more than welcome to leave a comment. I will tell you, because of my content, and because of what has been forced on me, and the amount of attention, and for the length of time I've had that forced attention, they do watch my channel. And I'm not talking about they not necessarily watch the videos, but they watch who visits my channel. And they watch, and also if they're in any way remote neural monitoring, and they happen to, I really don't want to go any further with that, quite frankly. But what I'm saying is, just know that I believe my YouTube channel is monitored. And if that you are going to leave a comment, I think it would be wise for you to use a VPN if you leave any comment at all. Like, cover your ass, protect your ass. Now, they probably still have ways to like look stuff up, I guess, or hack that, or like not hack it, but find ways around it. Maybe, I really don't know. It just means, if they're gonna follow up on you if you've left a comment, at least make it fucking hard for them, right? Make it harder for them to, they have to work for it, right? If they want to find out who you are because of a comment that you left, make them work for it. I've been telling people it's probably not wise to leave comments at all. But if you do want to leave one, I would certainly do my best to respond to you, provided that you're not there to just, you're not there holding ill intent. You're not there to gaslight. You're not there to perp out, right? You're not there to mock. I hate that shit. So if you're not there to do that, and you're, have an honest comment that's not ill-intended, as far as, and I'm talking ill-intended about, like, you can have a difference of opinion. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, your intention is to specifically come out of cognitive dissonance, or or say something that's, or basically gaslight. Like, you make a comment and it's doing it to gaslight. And after being perped out for over 10 years, if not longer, I can easily recognize those kinds of comments, even if they're pretending they're just like a regular person or whatever. So there's an energy to it. People forget that I can, that there are those out there that can, like, the energy that you type it with, I pick up on, right? So if you are a perp and you're there to gaslight, even if you try to say it in such a indistinct, vague way, to where, you say it, I'll just say, you wear your energy, you type in your energy. So whatever you type, I'm going to pick up on that energy. And I got really kind of into the weeds there. So yeah, wow, I didn't mean to like hit hit the ball into the weeds. So I think I'll kind of leave that there, and just do the best you can. Take care of yourself and those you love, and always stand in your power, stand in your authority, work from your higher capacities as much as you can, and don't ever submit your will. Don't ever do that. We're not supposed to. We need our wills to evolve. That was a misconception with some of the religions. Just never submit, and fight, and have respect and patience and love for yourself as well as others, and do your best to help those who are true, that you know to be truly benevolent. So until next time, take care.